right, y'all, let's talk about tumblers. What is a tumbler? Tumbler is a cylinder that has form to it, has shape, okay? First off, before we get going here, what is form? It's an important topic when it comes to pots and all art, but pots in particular. Form is the interaction between positive and negative space and the line that it draws. So if we look at the cylinder here, okay, the positive space being the cylinder, the negative space being the air around it, the line that it draws is form. So this pot has a straight form, straight up and down, okay? So that's important when it comes to tumblers. We're gonna throw a cylinder, we're gonna manipulate that form in order to create an ergonomic shape and create a drinking vessel for cold liquid that has a nice grip to it, okay? So we're gonna start off, we can be around that 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds if you're looking for a big glass, okay? We're gonna go through all those same processes. We're gonna cone chop, enter, open, pull. Okay, we're gonna pull up a cylinder. Enter, open, compress. Don't forget your compression. We don't want to ruin that pot. We're gonna go ahead and pull this clay up. Okay. Into our 6-inch cylinder, you know, at minimum really, but we're gonna pull it up into a cylinder shape, okay? Once we've done that, it's time to start thinking about that form. If you need to draw it out, go draw it out, okay? If you need some inspiration, look on Instagram, look somewhere else, come ask me. I got a lot floating around from different people, okay? Now let's form this. So when we do a shaping, like a rough shaping on a pot, we're gonna use our sponge in our hand, and we're gonna do a push and pull kind of dance, okay? It's important to make sure we have counter pressures inside and outside when we're manipulating pots, okay? So I'm gonna push in here right at the bottom, start to create a waist to this pot. And I'm just adding a little bit of pressure, kind of like I'm pulling, but I'm not trying to pull the clay upward, okay? The other thing we can use is called collaring. So if I want to bring this waist in really tight at the bottom, I'm going to use a similar shape to when I go to pick up pots, but I'm going to kind of use more pointed sections. I'm not going to use flat, long parts of my hands. I'm going to use the points to add pressure and do a collaring technique. So a little bit of pressure goes a long ways here, and I'm going to push in. I'm trying to create hardly any drag. I don't want to twist my pot, okay? And notice that that helped me create a little bit more of a waist. Take my sponge back, I might pull outward from the inside, just slightly, using counter pressure on the outside to create a wider opening here to help store a little more liquid. Okay, something like that. And notice I have some nice form, meaning I've brought that waist in, I've opened the shoulder up, I have a nice open mouth here, okay? Those are all different form elements. Now, let's start refining that shape. There's a lot of ways to do this, but we're gonna use ribs to really emphasize our shape. Notice that our ribs have different curvatures, okay? Let's use those curvatures to create form. So I'm gonna use the curved part of my metal rib here to push in right at the base. Again, counter pressure. Okay. Notice how that created a really nice curvature there. Now I'm gonna turn the rib to use a longer portion of that rib, and I'm gonna start to lift upwards with that. Okay, just like I'm ribbing a cylinder, but I'm using that pressure and that shaping. I'm bending this rib slightly in order to create form. Okay. How do you see form, right? If you look from up here, it's hard to see the form of your pot. Get your head off to the side, look at that line that's created between the negative and positive space, and that'll allow you to see what form you're actually creating, and in turn allow you to manipulate it. I might add a little bit of a shape here to my rim. Okay, when it comes to drinking vessels and anything you're gonna put to your mouth, it's important to think about the rim. How thick is it? What's the shape of it? How is it gonna interact with my mouth and my lips? Okay, those are all important things. So nothing jagged, no big old things that make you feel like you're putting a horse bit in your mouth. Okay, clean up that rim. And I like that form. I think that's gonna work for a tumbler. There's a little cleanup down here I wanna get rid of. Change that shape slightly down here. If there is any extra on this, I'm going to cut some off. There's not too much here. I can do a little trimming. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and remove that water just like my cylinder. Might take you a couple times here to get all that out of there. Again, make sure your pot's moving so that you don't hit it from the side. Okay, now I've got a tumbler that is a 6-inch cylinder at minimum that has been shaped to have some interesting form, not a straight up and down line, right? A little bit of a waist here, good ergonomics, plenty of volume to hold as much liquid as I would like. And then I'm gonna go picking this up. Okay, when you go to pick it up, make sure you got clean hands. Okay, you got a towel, you should have a towel. Go ahead and dry those hands off. Grab your bat. Okay, now notice there's already a pot on here. We don't have much room in our cupboards, so go ahead and use the same bat for multiple projects if you can fit them on there. Take your wire tool, we're gonna cut it off just like a cylinder. Okay. I gotta be careful with the bottom of this one because it skirts out. So the same concept, we're gonna tip back and lift up and set right on our bat, okay? Now we have our first assignments in Ceramics 1, a standard cylinder and a tumbler, okay? Both these pots need to have trimmed inside and outside feet. They both need to be bisque fired, they both need to be glazed, they both need to be glaze fired. And then you can take those home after you get them graded. So good luck with these. Go ahead, ask questions, ask your friends, rewatch the video as many times as you need. Let's make good pots in this class. Let's remember our standards of craftsmanship and let's enjoy ceramics. Thanks, y'all.